Africa is an interesting continent with similar challenges. My guest on the show runs the first tech hub in Cameroon. He talks about the impact, prospects, and challenges facing that ecosystem. We have quite a lot lined up for you, but first, some tech news and updates. I am Chukwemeka Agbata. Welcome to the show.
It may not always be profitable at first for businesses to be online, but it is certainly going to be unprofitable for not to be online.
How easy would it be to find reliable service providers wherever you are and whenever you need them? Enter Tunde Bohon, a Nigerian entrepreneur who wants to revolutionize the way services are acquired in Nigeria. Tunde is doing this by building Workman, a mobile application that provides hassle-free home services for people. It says he first got the idea some years ago when he was on a trip to Benin with his family.
In 2018, I traveled to Benin with my family, and on our way back, our car broke down in the middle of nowhere. And at that time, it was late, it was cold, and it was just I and my family, and we could not find anyone to help us with the car. And thank God, finally, we had someone who came by, and that was the person that tried to help us. And at that point, I thought, how could we not be able to find people in this place? And is there a way I could use technology to find the need that the help that I needed?
It was after this experience that Tunde decided to provide a quick fix to this kind of problem. Through Workman, anyone can connect with artisans and service providers within minutes, just like a ride-hailing service.
It's an app that we are using to provide sort of like a central platform for all the artisans to be on. Today, as you and I know, most of the artisans just stay in one corner, and the only customers that they can find are in those locations. Wouldn't it be nice if these artisans are open, the world is open to them, where people that are 5-10 kilometers away from them can actually find them and make use to them, and these allow them to make more money and gain more customers. So Workman is an app that was created for us to be able to, for people to be able to meet artisans around them in minutes. All you need to do is, at the touch of a button, you download the app, you find a request, you do a request for an artisan, and at that point you will find all the artisans that you needed in your area around you in very few kilometers, and at that point you can call them or you can request for them to come out, and they come out and serve the purpose of why you call them. Okay.
No journey is usually without its own hiccups, and for a mobile application that depends largely on internet accessibility, the problems faced are not far-fetched.
We've had many challenges in terms of technical and social challenges, and some of them are obviously network. The network is not always there for a lot of our users and a lot of our artisans. That's a challenge. And what we've done on the app is to give them so if there are no networks, you can also make calls, right? So that takes out the challenge of having to always have a network to deal with. And also the resistance that people have to social media, digital type of applications that you can use to change the way people have always done things. For years, Nigerians have always go to get their service based on referrals. And once they get these referrals, they go out and find a person, even though the person may not necessarily be the best person for the job.
The service providers and artisans can register on the free app, and there are field agents to ensure their authenticity and level of professionalism. Workman is an app that not only provides the services of artisans, but also an opportunity for artisans to reach as many customers as possible.
A Nigerian school is targeting students from low-income families to give them a chance to excel at science, maths and engineering for a fee of 100 naira a day, hoping they can hone skills to help their families escape poverty. One student, 12-year-old Faridat Bakare, who enrolled at NOSC Secondary School in Abuja in 2020, a year after it opened, has set a sight on becoming an engineer. In a technical laboratory of the school, she shows off a prototype for a solar-powered car made from board, which she developed with her classmates.
I want to become an electrical engineer who works with robots, solar panels, and all the connection of all the snap circuits, all things like that.
NOSC School runs largely on donations, and school officials visit each family to establish that they have no capacity to pay full fees, which would work out as 66,000 naira a term. The school currently has 82 pupils, but is expanding each year. Irene Bangdwell, founder of NOSC, said the idea of a science-oriented high school for poor children came to her 8 years ago when she had to take her child to hospital. When she heard a cleaner there tell another patient that her young daughter was also a cleaner instead of being in school, Bangwell's heart sank.
When we decided to run the NOSC school, we had to ask ourselves, what kind of education does the poor man's child need to break out of poverty? That's what we set out to do. We didn't set out to open a classroom and say, oh, there's another new school for poor children. No. We said, how can we fuse into learning for the poor enough value that they can break out of poverty?
Kingsley Bangwell is Irene's husband and co-founder of the project.
Continue a generation of millions of people that are not very literate, that are not very productive, that will continually remain under the poverty line and perpetuate another generation of poverty. And I'm saying there's something we can do about it. We can't reach everybody, but for every one child that we can get out of the street and give this empowering education, I see it is victory and it's a great, great contribution to building a great nation and just society.
In January, the United Nations said at least 10.5 million children in Nigeria do not attend school, the highest rate in the world. Most affected are girls, children with disability, and those from poor households. Students at NOSC spend 75% of their time studying science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, and when they graduate, each student has to develop a prototype of something they can use or pursue after school.
Before, I didn't know how to use the laptop, the monitors, and all this. So now in the Knox under Naira school, I've made solar car, I've made solar itself, and I've used solar to charge a phone.
NOSC School runs a rigorous competitive selection process that takes between 3 to 5 months before a student is finally taken in. They start by sending out application flyers to underserved communities and poor workers, after which they visit all the homes of the applicant to make sure that they truly are unable to pay for quality education. Sometimes they get over 100 applicants, but are only able to take in 30 students per year, as the school is still in a rented space. The goal for the Bangwells is to set up more of such schools in Nigeria and the rest of Africa. Daniel Nzoma's face glows in the light of a computer screen as he reviews computer codes used for driverless cars and crop disease detection, an unusual job in Nairobi's crowded Pipeline neighborhood. Nzoma's job, which includes geotagging, needs reliable and fast internet connectivity that used not to be available in Pipeline.
The geotagging really requires high internet speed for you to be accurate. You know, the key thing with Summer Source, with Remote Task, with Cloud Factory, they really require accurate, because this is data that will translate to something else bigger, and you cannot afford something that is not accurate. Also, you have to improve on your efficiency, which relies on your internet. If you don't have internet, well, unfortunately, you cannot work from home. And also, the internet should be reliable in the sense that it can able to manage their work and all that. And I really appreciate poor internet, and I believe it has really helped me.
But startup company POA Internet is aiming to provide fast, cheap internet to low-income Kenyan neighborhoods such as Pipeline. Companies often outsource work that underpins artificial intelligence to people who label roadside objects or teach driverless cars to recognize their surroundings, distinguish between a smudge of dirt on a fruit and disease, teaching machines to do the same. But this is only possible with high-speed internet. POA's custom-built software platform and off-the-shelf cheap Wi-Fi components connect home areas to towers it builds in the neighborhoods it serves. So far, they have connected 12,000 homes and also serve cyber cafes in Nairobi.
The problem with not having internet access is people end up on the wrong side of this thing called the digital divide, and by not being able to get online, they get separated from trade opportunities, education, social inclusion, and the hope with POA is that we can get people across the digital divide to utilize all these services.
Kenya is one of Africa's most connected countries, and internet researchers data reporters say 42% of Kenyans were online at the start of 2022. But connection quality is often low.
Most of these people cannot afford the services like, or rather getting services like internet was not there without POA, and that is, we've really gained a lot from them, and mostly helping in connecting those particular people in those areas who could not even think of having internet.
We use a different set of technologies than most of the other suppliers. So in Kenya, internet is heavily dominated by 3G and 4G operators, with a few rich homes getting fibre to the home. We use a form of super amped up Wi-Fi to deliver. So we use a wireless network to deliver to customers' homes, and this allows us to reduce the cost of each home that we connect, and we can pass that saving on to our customers.
Cheap and fast internet bridges the digital divide, offering more access to jobs, trade, education, and social inclusion. Few, if any, companies lay fiber connections in poor neighborhoods. Most people there connect through their phones using 3G or 4G data bundles provided by companies such as Airtel and Safaricom.
Coming up is my chat with Steve Chomba, manager, Active Spaces Cameroon. Stay with us. Steve, glad to have you on the show today.
We are happy to be here.
What do you think is the role of technology in developing Africa today?
Technology, it's a great opportunity for Africa. Great opportunity. That is not even arguable. You can't argue that. It's a great opportunity because it opens Africans to the rest of the world. Okay, so that's one thing, and it's amazing. It's a great opportunity because we're able, for example, you're able to have an entrepreneur here in Lagos selling products or services around the world. You're able to scale up businesses to reach an amazing amount of people. And to me, that offers Africa a great opportunity. And there's no question.
So why does this seem like we've not been able to handle some of our own issues? Is it a problem of capacity? I mean, what do you think?
I think we've done well. We need to give ourselves some credit. And in regards to that, one thing that I like to say is this. This is new for us, okay? It's new for us. the Americas and the Europe, they have been at it since the 40s, and perhaps even before that. If you look at some statistics, in 2010, there were probably about 3 incubators on the whole of the continent. Today, great work has been done. We have about 200, 400, 500. The report by Brighter Bridges talks about, I think, 644 incubators on the continent today. But, go back just 10 years ago, there was about 5. So look at the progress that we've already made in 10 years. So I think we're making a lot of progress. But there are a lot of problems. There's a lot of problems. But we need to give ourselves time. We need to, we need to train. We need to build capacity.
Tell us a bit about the Cameroonian technology ecosystem, how it has fared and the journey so far.
So we are Active Spaces. We are one of the first incubators, perhaps the first tech incubators in the country. And again, we've seen how the ecosystem has grown from Limbe to Boyer to Douala to Silicon Mountain that we've all heard about, and so there's a lot of things that have happened in Cameroon. We've had fantastic entrepreneurs. You've probably heard of Gifted Mom from Alentaf, who's making change in people's lives. So we've made great progress, but there's still a lot of work to do. A lot of work to do in the building capacity, a lot of work to do in policies, a lot of work to do in investment, a lot of work to do in cooperation.
So what do you say would be some of the positives that have come out of the ecosystem?
Some of the positive things that have happened that technology has done for Cameroon. So let's talk maybe in terms of even mobile money, okay? Mobile money, internet penetration is huge in Cameroon. Smartphones penetration is huge in Cameroon. We've had services. This particular one service that comes to mind is paying government stamps, where they've implemented a digital solution for stamps in Cameroon, which is a great solution for the government. Now the government can know exactly when people are paying their stamps here and there, and that it's really interesting for the government. We've had startups like Alentaf, I was telling you, who has developed a platform to give information, prenatal and postnatal care information to mothers. And that is changing lives in the health sector. So, yes. And these companies that I mentioned, Gifted Mom, is recruiting recently about 50 young Cameroonians. And so creating jobs as well. So that's some of the positives. We've gone from 2 incubators today to about 23 in the whole country. Not a lot, but it's already something. We've recently launched an organization called Kamer Tech, which is another next step to get all of these incubators together, to work together and finding solutions for innovation and entrepreneurship in the country. That is positive.
Now the challenges. What are some of the challenges? Why do you think the ecosystem hasn't grown the way it should grow?
We attended recently the AFILAB conference, and I really enjoyed our first keynote speaker, Mr. Celestin Monga, who said Africa has 4 deficits. It mentioned deficit of knowledge, deficit of conflict resolution, deficit of leadership, and deficit of self-esteem. I mean, I could stop here and say those are our problem. Those are the reasons why we don't grow. But like I said in the beginning, I think we're growing. We need to give ourselves some credit. But if I was going to tie it down to one thing, I would say, look, our leadership needs to understand. The way we understand the importance of technology, our leaders need to understand and not fear technology. And once we've done that, once they've understood the good and the positive things that this can bring for our economy and for our population, then we'll start putting in place strategies to develop. We need to rethink our educational system. So, for example, people talk about bringing technology in education. It's not about using a computer in a classroom. Then you say, well, you know what, we've integrated technology in our educational system. It's about really going to the fundamentals and saying, okay, how can we really integrate technology in our educational systems, so that it's not just about using a computer.
Steve, would bring me to my last question. I mean, you talked about French speaking, and there's also English speaking, there's Portuguese, there's Spanish. How can we use technology and innovation to bring about greater integration across Africa?
Look, I think technology is already doing it in so many other ways, okay? Unfortunately, sometimes technology coming from America, almost every African today uses WhatsApp to communicate. We share pictures and images. We share each other's cultures through WhatsApp and Facebook. We learn about other people's culture. We start to understand them. And that's what technology is capable of doing. We need to be able to really dive in. And this is why we need to encourage our young to develop those kind of applications that can apply. And I mean, it's already even technology. I met a young entrepreneur from Côte d'Ivoire who is developing African-made African emojis, all right? And young people are starting to use that to express themselves and sharing their cultures. Now imagine when that application would cross borders, and that now the Cameroonians or the Nigerians will start using those emojis created by Ivorian entrepreneurs to express the emotions, and that's the beauty of technology. Through a music application that we're developing in Cameroon called Colorful, you could listen to Nigerian traditional music whilst you're in Cameroon, and that gives you a kind of insight into how Nigerians enjoy music and vice versa. And that's what technology, and we need that. We can't just expect Africans to get along because they are Africans, so they should get along. But we need to start exchanging. And platforms that technology offers can enable us to start even understanding each other.
I have been chatting with Steve Chomba of Active Spaces Cameroon, who believes that African governments ought to take full advantage of technology and work closely with innovation hubs that are scattered across the continent. No foreign government or agency can truly develop Africa on behalf of Africans. What will make up all of these opportunities depends on the decisions various countries make today. But one thing is clear, the young innovators and techies out there are resolute and are constantly finding solutions to various problems. This is where we draw the curtain on this edition of the show. But it doesn't end here. The conversation continues online. We are at Tech Trends TV on social media, and also watch the show on Channels TV YouTube page or via cfablog.ng. For Tech Trends, I'm Chukwemeka Agbata.